Hey everyone, RJ here. Welcome back to the channel. Now we've seen some really great phones released here in 2020, some great budget, mid-range, and flagship devices. I'm excited to see what next year will bring as far as technology goes and cell phones and stuff like that. Now my channel, for a long time has always kind of revolved around the budget smartphone. As time progressed, I did get into some mid-rangers and a couple of flagships here and there. But today's video, I want to be giving you my pick of the best budget smartphone of 2020. Okay, so my pick for best budget phone of 2020 is the Moto G Power, and for a lot of reasons. I have used quite a few budget phones here in 2020, and for some reason the Moto G Power always stuck out to me as having all the features that I personally need in a phone, that I really want in a phone, and for a price that you really can't beat. So today, I'm going to give you some reasons on why, I chose this phone. Now, of course, everybody has their different price ranges for budget, mid-range, flagship, or whatever the case may be. This phone here you can get for under $200 right now. This phone did release at around $250 earlier this year, I do believe. But now you can find it for under $200, and if you buy it on Straight Talk, this is a Straight Talk variant here, you can get it for $129 right now, currently at Walmart.com. That's the price as of today, December the 30th, 2020. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into some of the features and some of the things and reasons why I've picked this phone as my best budget phone of this year. Number one, we're going to start off with the battery. This phone has a 5,000 milliamp hour non-removable battery with 10-watt fast charging. And I got to say, you'll have no issues, no problem whatsoever getting through 2 to possibly even 3 days on battery life here on the Moto G Power. I mean, I have done like I wouldn't call it like an endurance test, but I gave the phone a full charge. I turned on Wi-Fi, I got on YouTube, and I felt like a 7-hour nature scenery type video, and I just let it loop and loop until the phone got about 5%, and I got some pretty impressive battery life. I got a couple screenshots I want to show you right now. You'll see here I was at 5% battery, full charge lasted 19 hours, and screen usage was 17 hours and 30 minutes of straight usage. Looking over here, you will see screen on time was 17 hours and 30 minutes, and I was on YouTube for 17 hours and 23 minutes. That's pretty impressive. Now it's down to 5%. Now, that was in full 1080, watching it continuously. It did stop for like an hour, something like that, I think, before I restarted the video at one point. But the phone was never turned off or nothing like that. So you're seeing there the battery times. Now, of course, that does not, shows your usage from day to day, but that was just continuous usage, and honestly, that's some pretty good battery life. Second of all is the display. Now, the display is nothing like Super AMOLED, nothing fancy like that. This phone has a 6.4-inch IPS LCD display coming in at 1080 by 2300 resolution with a PPI of 399. And I gotta say, this display looks really good, okay? Now, it may not be the brightest display in the world. As you see, I'm here in the house. It's about 60% brightness. And, I mean, it's bright enough. Now, if I crank the brightness all the way up here to 100%, in here, it does look pretty bright. Of course, if you're out in bright sunlight, it's gonna suffer a little bit. But for what you're getting here, I think the display is beautiful. Watching content, on YouTube or on Netflix or whatever, you're going to have a very good viewing experience. Little notch, little pinhole camera up there at the top, and a 6.4-inch display. I mean, it just looks good. Good balance of color and good viewing angles. To me, the display looks great. And thirdly, with a great display, you need great speakers, and the Moto G Power definitely does not disappoint. This has dual stereo speakers. You have one down here at the bottom and one in the earpiece. Now, if you listen to a lot of phones today that has stereo speakers, a lot of times you get like that 70-30 feel, where like 70% of the volume is at the bottom and like 30% is out the top. But not with the Moto G Power. Whenever you're sitting here like this and you're listening to music, now some may ask why I don't play video or why I don't play audio in my videos, And that's because you can't get the true experience of how it's going to sound in real life. I did actually try to record some audio and play it back, and believe me, it just could not do it justice of how good these stereo speakers sound. Now, it may not be the lowest, punchiest sound of that you're going to hear on the market today, but if you want something that's loud, something that gives you that 3D experience, if you're holding a phone like this and you're listening to music or watching a video, it gets very loud. It gets, I mean, and it's 50-50. You can plug the bottom speaker up and it sounds just as loud coming out the top as if you cover the top and hear the bottom. It sounds amazing. And if you want to listen to music, I mean, it has all kinds of really great effects to it here. As you see there, I got Moto audio on custom, and believe me, I got it sounding good personally. So yeah, the audio quality on this device here is top notch, and for a phone you can get for under $200 right now, there's some phones out there that has just a mono firing speaker that costs $500-$600. Galaxy A71 5G, I just picked up, $600 phone with a single mono bottom firing speaker, and you're seeing this phone here for under $200. This got amazing sound quality, and that's all I want to say about that. Next is the cameras. We have a triple camera setup here on the rear with a single pinhole camera in the front. Now, as far as the specs for the camera goes, you got a 16 megapixel wide lens with aperture of f1.7, an 8 megapixel ultra wide lens with 118 degree field of view with aperture of f2.2, and a 2 megapixel macro lens with aperture of f2.2. You can record at 4K 30 frames per second on this device, or 1080p at 30 and 60 frames. And the front camera is a 16 megapixel wide angle lens with aperture of f2.0 that can record 1080 at 30 frames per second. And jumping here into the camera app itself, you got a lot of features. You got the portrait mode, the cutout, the macro, the spot color, live filter, panorama, cinematograph, video modes. You got macro, slow motion, time lapse, and AR stickers. You have, of course, your camera mode here. You got 1x and you got 0.5x for your ultra wide, and they do a very good job. Here you got your flash, your self timer, this button here for your active photos, on or off for auto, your auto and manual mode. And like I said, 16 megapixel camera here on the rear, different aspect ratios, video size, full HD at 60 frames, 4K at 19:9. Yeah, really nice stuff there. And of course, on the front, 4.3, 16:9, whatever the case may be. Now, it has 16 megapixel, or recommended is 16 megapixel, 4 megapixel, quad pixel. I have no idea what all that means here on this device. I just kind of leave it recommended there. So really nice stuff going on there as well. Video size is full HD and 19:9, full HD and HD. So no 60 frames per second, no 4K on the front, nothing like that. I mean, this phone is sub $200, okay? And, you got the twist capture, and you got the chop motion for the flash there, which is really nice. The twist, which, opens up your camera. Really a nice, cool feature here on Moto devices. Now, I do have a few samples here I'm going to show you right now from the rear camera, just a regular lens, and then the ultra wide lens, as well as a selfie photo and a selfie video. So let's go ahead and check that out right now. So here's the front camera of the Moto G Power, recorded at full 1080 at 30 frames per second. Audio is coming from the device itself. Now, for some reason, the front camera on this phone just looks a lot darker than most phones I've used, okay? While I'm looking at it right here, it does look very clear from what I'm seeing. Frame rate looks to be good here as well. Now, of course, if you're outside in bright light, and you're probably not going to have this kind of issue, but if you're indoors, the front camera is going to look dark. Like I said, from what I'm seeing right here, it does look clear. I mean, I even cranked up my ring light in behind this phone, and it still looks dark. But, if you want that darker look, where it don't look so bright, then this is going to be good, because in my opinion, the quality still looks pretty sharp and clear. So, yeah, your experience is going to be different depending on your lighting, of course. If you're outside a lot of the times. But Moto G Power front facing camera here, full 1080, 30 frames per second. What do y'all think? So in my opinion, camera quality is good. It's not the best on the market. Don't expect, pixel type, quality photos or iPhone type videos, nothing like that here on your Moto G Power. But for the price you're paying, in my opinion, it takes great photos, it takes great videos. So yeah, I personally don't think you'll be disappointed. Next up, what would a phone be without having good call quality and good reception? And you're going to find both of these to be excellent here on the Moto G Power. Reception on this is one of the strongest I have seen on the Verizon network, and the audio quality is also really good. Speakerphone is good as well. Next up is the performance. You're getting the Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 processor with 4 gigabytes of RAM. Now, that may not be the highest specs on the market, but for the price point, I think the 665 processor, 4 gigabytes of RAM, with 64 gigabytes of onboard storage, you can expand that with a micro SD card as well. You're getting a great package here as far as performance goes. I mean, like I said, great display, great, pretty good cameras, and then you have the performance, which honestly, in my opinion, is pretty snappy. I've not really had any slowdowns, any hiccups. I do want to play a game, Asphalt 9, and I play Asphalt 9 a lot on a lot of these phones for review because Asphalt 9 is very graphic intense. And if you can play Asphalt 9, you ain't gonna have any problem playing anything else. Let's go ahead and load that up right now. So the game loaded up pretty fast. I mean, it looks good. The screen looks good. I mean, it don't look blurry, nothing like that. But we're gonna see how the performance is here while playing the game. If there's any drop frames, any freezing. The speakers are up a little bit. They're not too awful loud right now, but want a little bit of volume in there, I'm seeing a few drop frames here and there. Definitely not going to hinder your performance, the performance of this game and your ability to play it. It's going to actually be very good. I mean, like I said, if you can play this game right here smoothly, it's going to be able to play anything else that you want to play. Okay. So yeah, there's Asphalt 9. Everything looks good. We'll play it for a few more seconds here just to see if there's any drop frames or any freezing. And honestly, I'm just not really seeing nothing that's bad here. So yeah, there's Asphalt 9. I've also played games like Call of Duty, PUBG, and it plays those games good as well, no issues. So yeah, the Moto G Power, my pick for the best budget smartphone of 2020. That's just my personal opinion. There's more I can say about this phone, but for the sake of time, I'm going to try to cut this off right here. I mean, just a few extra features here before I leave. Fingerprint scanner here on the rear works great. It's always accurate. Has, stereo speakers, USB Type-C, headphone jack on the bottom, and this phone has Android version 10. It's got the plastic back. It says aluminum frame. I'm really not sure about the frame being aluminum, but it says it, but the back is plastic. I mean, it's stock Android. I mean, it's just a really good phone. The case that I picked up for this G Power is this Rugged Shield case. I've had this case forever. Bought it for like under $10. I think it's like $8 right now on Amazon, something like that. And honestly, it does look and it fits very well here in this Rugged Shield case. Very good protection here. You can't go wrong buying the Moto G Power. In my personal opinion, for everyday usage, you won't be disappointed with the Moto G Power. So that's where it's going to end off at right there. If it's helpful and informative in any way, hit that like button. Leave any questions you may have down below. Tell me what you think of the Moto G Power. Do you own it? Are you planning on buying this phone? I would love to know down below in the comment section. Also, if you're new around here, be sure and subscribe and click that bell for future videos coming up very soon. Y'all have a good one, and thanks for watching.